All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a short video where we're looking at the Magna Carta review questions that are on Edsby. I'm going to be going through all 10 of them, and as I answer them, I'm also going to show you in the text where you can find evidence for them. So before we do anything else, we can kind of look at our document. It's titled the Magna Carta, AD 1215, also known as CE Common Era. We have some numbered paragraphs. This first paragraph here is number 1, and it looks like we have 2 paragraph 6s, so I will edit this out in the final version and just scroll to the bottom. And we'll look at some questions here. Alrighty. First question says, the king of what country was forced to sign the Magna Carta? Gives you 4 choices there. It's going to be King John of England. And really that first sentence is going to tell us a lot about what we're reading about. In 1215, King John of England was forced to sign the Magna Carta, stating that the king was not above the law of the land and protecting the rights of the people. So let's look there. The king of what country? So, of course, the answer is going to be England. We also got the answer to number 2. Which king signed the Magna Carta? It was John I, also known as Lackland and John Softsword. Question number 3. What year was it signed? The answer is going to be 1215. Next question, we'll go back to the text here in a second. It's true or false? Both sides thought the agreement was good for the country and had every intention of keeping it. And of course, when we look at things like this, we like to think that everybody who compromises is doing so in good faith. If we go back to our document here, though, this wasn't a good compromise. It stated that John agreed to do his duty as King of England, upholding the law and running a fair government. In return, the barons agreed to stand down and surrender London. But it states here that neither side had any intention of following the agreement. Not long after signing, King John attempted to nullify it. Nullify means to make null, or to make zero, or to make it nothing, and even called on the Pope to declare it illegal and unjust. So you have as 2 parties who are sort of entering into this agreement that neither side intends to keep. So, civil war was the result. So the answer is false. Both sides did not think it was a good agreement. Moving down to question 5, we've already got the answer there. What happened after the document was signed? Did the king become a much better ruler? Did the barons give up London? Did civil war break out? Or all of the above? Only one of those 3 happened. Civil war between the barons and the king broke out. Question 6 asks you, in what language was the Magna Carta written? And you can choose between English, Spanish, French, and Latin. The answer is Latin. Peasants spoke English. Noblemen spoke French. And documents were written in Latin. If you go to the very bottom text here, the interesting facts, it says the document itself was originally written in Latin. All right, the next question asks, what government body was eventually formed from the Council of 25 Barons? Now, this is an important question because we're not looking at the Magna Carta in a vacuum. We're looking at the Magna Carta because it tells us about our own political origins. The Magna Carta shows 800 years ago that people thought similarly about government as we do today. The idea of no one being above the law. This is the origin, or at least the written origin in the West, of some of these ideas. So your options are A, the Politburo, Congress, Senate, or Parliament. And if we go to the top here, under the interesting facts, paragraph 10 here, it's going to say the Council of 25 Barons that the Magna Carta formed to watch over the king eventually became the Parliament of England. And Parliament is a little bit different than what we have in the United States, but it's still a representative body that has powers separated from the crown or from the executive. Number 8 is going to ask you true or false. Some of the clauses of the Magna Carta are still in force as English law. And that's going to be true. A lot of the 63 articles have been reworded, or maybe they only exist in some sort of a spiritual sense. However, Three of the clauses are still in force as English law, including the freedom of the English Church, the so-called ancient liberties of the City of London, and the right to due process. And that last one in particular is one that we take seriously. We have that enshrined in a specific amendment within the Bill of Rights. So the answer there is going to be true. So we move to number 9. What finally put an end to the civil war between the barons and the king? You have a lot of choices here. Is it that they signed a peace treaty? Is it that the Pope intervened? Is it that the king defeated the barons and had them replaced? Was it that they signed another agreement called the Magna Carta too? Or is it that King John died? And it's often happened in this time period. Wars would end when the original combatants died. So King John died 1216, putting a quick end to the war. At that point, a new king was put in charge. And the last question here gives you, and again, this is that important piece that we're looking at, is what did the Magna Carta have that inspired later documents like the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Bill of Rights, the greater aspects of the Constitution, the English Bill of Rights, all these things. So 800 years of the Magna Carta, what all did it inspire and what's still relevant in it? So we're asking you, which of the following was not a part of the Magna Carta? 4 choices here. Was it the protection of the church's rights? A council of 25 barons appointed to watch over the king? Was it that each man had a right to vote for king? Or was it that there were no taxes without the agreement of the barons? And we sort of have these democratic sensibilities built into us because they've been enshrined in our own American documents since the birth of this country. The idea of popular sovereignty, the people having the power. However, in this time period, this part that was not included in the Magna Carta was the right for each free man to vote for king. That would be much too democratic of a concept for the monarchy 800 years ago. So we can find the other 3 here. It says that there's a council of 25 barons. It can tell us that there's a protection of church rights. It tells us that there's no new taxes without the barons' agreement. And that means the only thing that isn't listed in there is this, the right for each free man to vote for king. So that covers all 10 questions. If you have any further questions, please send me a message via Edsby, or you can send me a direct email. Let me know what your questions are. If anything is still not clear, this is meant to be an aid for those of you who are having trouble completing these questions, or if you've just eventually kind of hit a brick wall on retaking the questions over and over again. Anyway, I hope you have a great week. Talk to you later.